Hi guys, Marstar39 here, and today I'll be talking about the camp I did at Rutgers called the Rutgers Design Intensive. Um, so this is mainly split into 4 little projects. The first one was an abstract composition where they basically gave us like white paper and we had to put like black squares on it. So before I actually show you what I ended up with, I want to show you my beautiful drawings, sketches, whatever. And they are actually beautiful, I must say. So this is actually what I ended up with. So this is requirements where 2 had to be the same squares, 2 had to be different squares, different size squares, and 2 could be whatever you want. So the top 3 were based around the word shy, and yeah. Alright, so our second project was package mashups. And so our teacher shared in like a Google Drive, excuse me, like 5 or 6 packages, like from a package that she scanned in. I think one was like Triscuit box, there was a Band-Aid box, there were like a few others that I don't remember. So I chose the Band-Aid box to make all these images on, and before I actually show anything, how this will work is I'll show the image and then to the right it'll show the layers. So these were all made using Adobe Photoshop. Alright, so let's get started. So the first one was really just cropping, not really anything too exciting. I don't even know if I'll show the layers here since it won't really matter. So the second one was using overlays. So I guess the first image, I guess it kind of has like a glitched effect, which actually I really like. And it's pretty cool. So again, the layer will be to the right. And then the second one was like a lot more lighter. So I guess there's a good contrast there. So the third one was isolation. So I think I have 3 isolation pieces. The first one was the bee on the Band-Aid box. And I just made a circle and just used a gradient background. So the second one is I took the Band-Aid like out off the package and I made like a square, and then like behind that square I made them into like an X. And so the third one was H's from somewhere. And again, that has a gradient background too. Moving on. Um, we have one absence piece. So not recrop. I zoomed in on the part that I wanted. And so the blue area was like the spot that would go over like the wound, and the red areas were the overlapping bits. So so there should be an image with what's it called with. I don't know if I already had any sketches for this now that I think about it, but there should be an image showing them all when we all pinned them to the wall. But I think that's it. So let's move on to the next project. So our third project was an imaginary event poster. So our teacher had us randomly choose an event and a place where it took place. So I ended up with a roof on the top of a building, on the roof, a dance on the roof of a building. That was it. And so the catch with this poster is that we could only use text. We couldn't make like a drawing or anything. We could um, um, like we could use geometric shapes to abstractly represent something, but we couldn't like be like, oh, this is like a disco ball or etc. Something like that. I have some sketches. This is what kind of happened with my first version of this. Is roughly like this. I think it was a little changed. But speaking of versions, I have 4 versions. I'm at with 5 pictures. For the second version, I have 2 versions of that. So before I show you guys any of the actually posters, all the poster versions were made using Adobe InDesign, and there will be a top text which you'll see, which will be made using Adobe Illustrator. Also, for this project, we could only use 3 types of font: Helvetia, Carlson, and Georgia. You could use those regular versions of them or the bold versions. Alright, so let's get started. So the first version was really just like my sketch. At the top says a dance at 50 Roof Drive, open to all. And then I gave like where and then when. Alright, so we're going to start with the first version for the second one. So it kept the top bit. I added like a little like what would be there at like the very top. I made like light beams, and then in the middle I made my representation of a disco ball. And so there's a shadow for the disco ball, and then there's a floor. So the second version is basically the same thing. I just switched the location of the disco ball and the top of the text at the dance acts, and then like what would be included. So the third version is really different. So as you can see, most of the text is black now. So these circles are supposed to represent stars, I guess fireflies, depending on how you look at it. It's all the same parts, really, more or less. So the fourth version is a little bit different. I moved. So in the previous version, where it says 50 Roof Drive, below I had it like open to all. So I put that like kind of in between the the big circles, and then those two texts were the same. And at dance party, the inside of the A's, D's, P's, R's, etc. Are actually black now, and that was my final version. And so we printed this on like nice glossy paper, and I think I actually have some audio of me presenting it, so I'll play that in a minute. So I guess my thing was a dance party on the roof of the building. So I guess really from like the start, I was thinking I was kind of like making some sort of like text at the top. So in the end, I ended up with this. In some versions, like I had like the insides of the A's, D's, and whatever as like white instead. And I guess like the black background kind of came like, when I started to think about it a little more. Since I was thinking it's more about like nighttime, and I guess kind of like the white circle are kind of like stars or fireflies.
It also remind me of like I feel like I have a picture of a rooftop right now. Picture those ball lights that hang all around it. They're kind of romantic. Yeah, the hierarchy totally works. That all the information is quite clear. Nothing feels overly important. Maybe this is like the address is really common, but it's clear. And I like that using a graphic form that's already in the poster to use that to call out information. It's a nice trick to use, you know. And this detail these things consistently throughout. And again, with this movement, these are clearly like they're either coming towards you or they're moving up, or there's some sort of implied movement, as there is with that. Even this one has a movement like these, so I feel like there's like things are moving things around there, and this is moving this way. And that's great.
So our final project was making a tree a book. So we went to the Rutgers Douglas campus via one of the Rutgers buses, and we had a pizza party, and then we went out to a park and took some pictures of trees. Now, I happen to have some video of that process, but before I get to that, I want to explain how this project kind of worked. So, I believe the requirements is we had to have at least 10 words. It had to be 16 to 20 pages long, including the front and back cover. Have to have a title, and your name has to be on it somewhere. So now I'm going to show you guys the video. It will probably be sped up. So see you guys once that section is over. So that's all we had to do to just get the pictures of the tree. Um, that took like 9.5 minutes of the video, actually. So anyway, so the sketch that you're seeing is the concept for the book. The top image is the cover, so it's supposed to be like the tree, Um, and below it are just ideas of text and picture placement. So I believe this book was made using Adobe Photoshop and Adobe InDesign. I don't think Illustrator was used for this one. Um, so the only thing now is to really show my book. Alright, so here's my book. So this is the front cover, and so the way the cover is supposed to work is supposed to be a picture of the tree. Um, so the first, I guess, page. On the next page, so the left is a random book about a tree by some person called Christopher. Should be me. Um, so the next, whoop, okay. So the next page says, "Hey there, how's life going? I'm taking time out of my life to write a book about some tree I found the other day. This book even has pictures. It's a really big and great tree. If I recall correctly, it was on the previous page, next to the title page. Oh, reader, you have something to tell me about that picture that was on page 3? Alright, I'm listening, tell me. Wait, you're saying that part of the tree is missing and the rest of the tree is floating in the air? Wow, it is. How is that possible? Anyway, while I figure out why part of the tree is missing and why part of it is floating, I'd like to tell you more about the tree. Before like half of it went missing, or stolen, I took some pictures of this beautiful tree. As you can probably tell, this tree has tons of, and, okay, has tons of branches and leaves. Oh, there's some pictures of branches. This great tree has 3 holes in the trunk. Let's talk more about branches. I don't know how, but this happened somehow. It's like the bark was ripped off. Maybe even there was a branch here at some point. That's about it. Now I have to go and figure out what happened to that tree. It's probably Jimmy again. He's been known to steal trees. Actually, now that I think about it, there is security cams there for some reason. Let's see if I can get my hands on the footage. I got the footage. Let's see what happens. I knew it was Jimmy. Well, have a good day. I'll go hunt down Jimmy, although he won't be hard to find. So that's it. And then there's the back cover. So that was it. That was that was everything we did so far. Actually, not so far, that we already did. So as you probably noticed, the font used for the book was a Splatoon font for some reason, just because I liked it. Anyway, that's actually it. Oh, wait a minute. I think there's one more thing we did. I think it was a trip to New York.